Hello and a very warm welcome to Game On, where we get you the latest from the world of sports. I'm Neha Bhardwaj. Lots of Indians in action today. At the Asian Games, India have already added to the medals tally, making it 60 medals so far. We get the results from Hangzhou, where Indian cricket team beat Nepal by 23 runs to enter the semi-finals, riding on a 49-ball 100 by opener Yashaswi Jaiswal. We will look back on that match. There is also a warm-up game that India are playing in Trivandrum against Netherlands. But the news right now from Trivandrum is that the match has been delayed. Toss has been delayed as well. Covers are on. And hopefully, we are going to get a game, but at what time it starts, we're still not sure of that. Remember, this is not a listed game, which means that your full squads can be used in these warm-up games. Though Rohit Sharma, before the last game, had said that these warm-up games are just a formality. He's obviously, he knows that his team is ready for the big tournament that starts from the 5th. India's campaign, of course, starts on the 8th in Chennai against Australia. But yes, India versus Netherlands, that warm-up game, it's been delayed because of rain. The covers are still on. There is some crowd in the stands, and they are hoping and waiting that maybe they will get a full game. But this is what we've seen in the warm-up games. A lot of these matches have been impacted by rain. Yesterday, 2 games that happened, both had results come through DLS. So for now, covers are soaking wet, and hopefully we will get a game. But as of now, it's delayed. So, but there is a lot to talk about, because this is also warm-up game of importance for a team like Netherlands, who will be playing India before the World Cup starts. And they'd look to make a dent. They'd look to cause upsets, because this is one team that has done well to qualify for the World Cup. They were second in the qualifiers, just below Sri Lanka, and they've made it. So one associate nation that has made it to this World Cup is Netherlands, and they are going to be playing against India in that warm-up game. Lots to talk about. Chetan Narula joins us here. Vedam Jaishankar is here with us. Both are looking forward to this warm-up game, because all said and done, at the end of the day, we'll get to see Indian team in action, and everything from here on, whatever they're doing, even if this is just a warm-up game, you get a sense of what they are planning to do come the World Cup. So Chetan, in that sense, important, but once again, we're waiting for this game to begin. How are you looking at this warm-up game? How do you think India will be approaching it?
Hello, Meha. I think with any warm-up game, it's about the individual performances, how you can perfect what you're trying to do ahead of the big tournament. In terms of the overall team plan, I think the Indian team is ready to go into the World Cup and get the tournament started. I think what they would, if obviously the game happens, what they would be looking to do is get some game time under their belts, probably the likes of Ravindra Jadeja and Shardul Thakur getting some batting time, try and see if they can go in with 3 pacers or 3 spinners, just depending on the conditions. But like I said, approaching a warm-up game like this ahead of the big tournament, you don't want to play with full intensity. All you want to do is make sure on an individual level, those 40, 50 balls that you get to play, that you are fine-tuned, your performance is fine-tuned, your mentality is fine-tuned. And I think just like any other team, India would be approaching this warm-up game in the same way.
Also, for a team like Netherlands, in a tournament like the World Cup, Vedam, how do you think they approach a tournament like this? Obviously, they know their limitations. They haven't played against some of the top-class teams. That's just how things are for them. But nevertheless, a huge moment for them as well, right? And they've actually beaten some of the they've beaten 3 full members, right? In Ireland, West Indies, Zimbabwe. So they'd be very happy and thrilled to be here. But at the same time, that win, beating big teams, is that something that they obviously they want to do? But is that something they look at realistically?
Hi, Meha. Netherlands is a funny team. Some
Hmm.
of the guys who either don't get to play for South Africa or who have played for South Africa and been passed on, they also land up and play for Netherlands.
Hmm.
One of the classic examples is Van der Merwe. In fact, Van der Merwe also played for RCB for a season, and I think he played for no, he played for 2 or 3 seasons for RCB, and I
Hmm.
think he also played for Punjab 11. So and yeah, so that way many of these Netherlands cricketers have a lot of exposure to South African cricket, and they are also part of that Afrikaners. Uh, what do you say background? So and they qualify in one of their qualifications things. So and some of them who have not been able to make the South African team for various reasons. South Africa has got a funny system where their quota system is at work. So
Hmm.
because the quota system, some of them don't manage to get it. So they move on and play and try their hand with Netherlands or England if they qualify as Englishmen. And what we notice is that they actually want to prove themselves. They have a point to prove, and they're not bad cricketers because one basic thing is their exposure levels are very high. They play in the South African league, they play in the South African county system, and some of them also go and play in England. So the
Hmm.
exposure levels are very high for the Netherlands cricketers, and it's no surprise really that they are beating teams like Zimbabwe, West Indies, and on a good day they can beat one of the even the major players. So they are like Afghanistan can be spoilers. They may not have the wherewithal to go through and win 7, 8 matches at a stretch, but
Yeah.
on their day they can spoil somebody's show or the other. So that way they are a little dangerous, and playing in Trivandrum and playing in Chennai are not two different things for Indian cricket because both are coastal cities, both are going to be hot and humid. Of
Hmm.
course, one is in the west coast and one is in the east coast. But otherwise, I think the conditions are ideal. I think India played this warm-up match with that in mind, that they will be playing against a team like Australia on
Hmm.
the coastal side, that is Chennai, and they're playing Netherlands here. But otherwise, I don't think the Indian team is going to learn anything from this game at all.
Okay, now I think we all remember the qualifiers, Chetan, where they beat West Indies in the super over, if you remember, right? So this team, of course, will have that thing of winning and spoiling the party for some of the other nations. But I was just looking at their recent record, I mean, they won what, 3 out of 24 ODIs they played. They've lost a series to Afghanistan, they've lost to New Zealand, West Indies, England, Pakistan, and South Africa. I wonder that, like my question before this to Vedam, I wonder how they approach a tournament, because it's a big moment and they want to win, but at the same time there is a difference in their standard and the teams that are playing in the World Cup. So yeah, so how do you think they will be approaching this World Cup?
It's a very interesting viewpoint, to be honest. I mean, for people who are outside cricket, I mean, I was having dinner with my cousin on the weekend, and we were watching the Australia-Netherlands game. And Mitchell Stark bowled those unplayable deliveries, and the Dutch batsman did not have any clue. And my cousin remarked, why is Netherlands even playing cricket at this level? They should be banned. I was like, no, that's not how it works. You can't really ban them just because Mitchell Stark took a hat trick. On the other side, you come out and see what Nasser Hussain has said, that Netherlands on their day can beat Pakistan, which is also true, which is absolutely also true. So these are two extremes. These are two extreme viewpoints, and the performances are just tossing between these two extremes for a team like Netherlands. They come into a World Cup. Obviously, they want to win, but on the other hand, do they really have a good shot at winning the World Cup, or are they just here to make a mark? I remember in 2011 when Ireland were playing in the World Cup and they beat England, and it was a major victory for them. But has Ireland cricket progressed since then? So I think it's a question of how these teams or these countries are given an opportunity to play at this level, to get ahead of themselves, to progress at this particular level. And I
Yeah.
think the bigger question, the larger question here is for the ICC to answer: are they doing enough for these associate nations or category 2 teams, so that they could excel at international cricket? And obviously, there are many debates surrounding it. But regarding this particular tournament, I think the best Netherlands can dream of is upsetting the apple cart for a couple of sides. I mean, they would be targeting games against Afghanistan, Bangladesh, maybe Sri Lanka,
Yeah.
and like Nasir Hussain said, maybe Pakistan,
Pakistan.
to upset the apple cart. Apart from that, I mean, if they don't finish 10th in this tournament, that would be a major achievement for the Netherlands.
Okay, let's also talk about India then. What are they expecting from this last warm-up game? If that happens, this is the last day for warm-ups. And then, of course, 5th, we have the start of the World Cup. There are some areas for India that they will be worried about, Vedam. We've spoken about it in our earlier shows as well. But the problem is that there seems to be no solution to it. And that is India's long tail. I think we all can agree that now the kind of pitches that we will see in India, most of these pitches, you will get games where scores will be 350, 320 and above. And in that case, I am wondering how, if India ends up, not getting off to a good start, how will they be able to score these big totals with that kind of tail, that long tail that they have? And that's what I'm saying, Vedam, that there seems to be no solution inside, because you are going to go in with the same bowling attack and your bowlers can't bat. That's just how it is.
So how many runs do you really expect a number 8 to get? Are you expecting to get 100 or 80 or 70 or even just 10, 15 runs? I mean, that's what you're looking at. And if that number 8 is going to score 10, 15 runs, but give away 20, 25 runs while bowling and fielding, then it's no use. You better pack your side with your best bowlers, your best batsmen, and maybe an all-rounder can be the wicketkeeper. Plus, of course, Hardik Pandya is also there. And approach it that way. Because if you are scared about your batting, and then you try and get an all-rounder at number 8, number 9, I mean, it's not going to work, It's actually a negative move. It's a very, very negative move and could backfire very badly, because either you need bowlers, and you need 5 bowlers actually. And the 6th and 7th bowler is a backup, as a cover-up just in case somebody gets injured or it's an off day or whatever. So you have a 6th and 7th bowler, but otherwise 5 bowlers should do the job. Likewise for batting also, you need about 6 batsmen. They have to do the job. And then you have a wicket keeper there who can bat. So I think that should suffice. If they can't do the job, then there's no point in weakening your bowling and getting another person who really is not an all-rounder. He's coming in a guise of an all-rounder, but he really is not an all-rounder. If you have an all-rounder, then he should be able to get big runs. I look at Hardik Pandya as an all-rounder, provided he bowls. If he doesn't bowl, I don't think Hardik Pandya also deserves a place in this team. But if he bowls, yes, he's the ideal all-rounder you will have there. He can bowl 5 overs, he can bowl 6 overs, and maybe on a good day, he can even bowl 10 overs. And he can bat. Likewise, both your wicketkeepers can bat. Whether it is KL Rahul or it is Ishan Kishan, both of them can bat. So I think India just needs to ensure that its top order batsmen and other batsmen, put their head down and start scoring runs rather than leaving it to number 8, number 9 and number 10 to do the scoring. It's unfair. If that's the case, then maybe your Indian batsmen also have to get 1 or 2 wickets. Let them bowl, let them get 1 or 2 wickets and do the job. Just because you want to protect somebody, you're getting an extra all-rounder as you claim, that's unfair. So I think India needs to understand that it doesn't have a second all-rounder. It's got 1 all-rounder, make the best use of him. Otherwise, you have somebody like Jadeja, who on a good day can do something with both bat and ball. Likewise, even Ashwin, on a good day, he can bat well. But, they need good days. They are not going to get you runs all the time. And that's something that you just have to accept. It's better to go with your best bowlers and your best batsmen and give it your best shot.
I think what has happened now is that we've just seen Australia and we've seen England, and now the difference seems so stark, Chetan, because for England you have Chris Wokes coming in at 8, right? Australia in a similar situation, and you feel like with that luxury you can experiment with your bowling, whereas with India, you just cannot make any changes. I mean, that's your bowling attack. You've got to go with that bowling attack. You don't even have a place for a Mohammad Shami to come in, because you are just going to prolong that tail. And yeah, you compare this Indian side then to England, Australia, and you're like, wow, these guys have batters right all the way down. So how do you see India competing on these pitches, and especially how big a problem do you think this could be for India?
Well, let's take it one point at a time. I think the debate about Mohammad Shami playing or India playing with three pacers ended last night when you saw Moeen Ali bat the way he did.
Yeah.
Moeen Ali bats at number 7 for England, and they were not even playing their full strength batting lineup. Ben Stokes wasn't there; they were just experimenting. And after Moeen Ali, you have Sam Curran to come. You have Chris Woakes, obviously, and you have David Willey, if all three of them are playing. So England battle number 9. The same can be said of Australia with Pat Cummins coming in at number 8. New Zealand, something similar. You have Rachin Ravindra and you have Mitchell Santner. They bat at number 7 and 8. So India have Ravindra Jadeja at number 7. And that's where the batting ends. Unless they're playing Ashwin, then it goes to number 8, or Shardul Thakur, that goes to number 8. Yes, I agree with Vedab that Shardul or Ashwin, you can't really classify them as all-rounders, but you classify them as bowlers who can bat in this particular format. But do India have the luxury to play 3 pacers and then 3 spinners, or 3 pacers and 2 spinners? Because there is no way Hardik Pandya is being dropped. He's been bowling regularly. He can give you 10 overs. Does he need to give you 10 overs? No. When you're playing with 5 other bowlers, he doesn't need to give you 10 overs. On a good day, your 5th bowler and Hardik Pandya will give you 15 to 18 overs on a good day.
Yeah.
So there's no need for Hardik Pandya to bowl 10 overs, but you need Hardik Pandya to bat at number 6 and help finish the innings. Whether you're batting first or you're batting second, I mean, he gives you a much better return than somebody like a Surya Kumar Yadav. If you're playing 3 spinners and you're playing 3 fast bowlers, then obviously you're weakening the batting. You can't go with both. You have to pick either your 3rd spinner or your 3rd pacer, and therein lies the problem for India. Because you have to have Hardik Pandya. You don't have a spin bowling all-rounder of that particular caliber. So you have to have Hardik Pandya, which would mean even if you're playing 3 pacers, that would mean an imbalanced bowling lineup with 4 pace options and only 2 spin options. So you play 3 spinners and two pacers, and then Hardik Pandya does the 3rd pacer's job. So for India, as you asked, how does India approach this? They have to look at what the best balance is in terms of their all-rounders, in terms of their bowlers. Just looking at the squad, there is no way India will play 3 pacers, maybe in 1 or 2 games, maybe in Dharamshala, maybe in Kolkata. Because if you're playing 3 fast bowlers in your playing 11, then you need an additional fast bowler in the squad, out and out fast bowler in the squad. India doesn't have that. India don't have Prasidh Krishna in that squad. They have Shardul Thakur, a bowler who bats. And what surprises me, Neha, most is, until last month, we called him Lord Shardul Thakur. Now he's just Shardul Thakur. So memories in Indian cricket are really short.
Yeah.
Where is that Lord thing gone? He's Lord because he picks those wickets. He's Lord because he can hit those runs. Remember, we do not need more than 30 runs from the number 8 batsman. We don't. The number 8 batsman is needed when you need those 40 runs of last 30 balls or 30 runs of the last 20 balls. If you need more than that, then your batting has failed, and then as it is, you're not going to win matches on these pitches. So who gives you a better shot at those runs? A Mohammad Shami, an Ashwin, or a Shardul Thakur? My answer is very clear, a Shardul Thakur.
Okay, we will come back to this game, but let's also look at what happened in the Asian Games quarterfinals. India won the toss, chose to bat first against Nepal in Hangzhou. Ruturaj Gaikwad and Yashaswi Jaiswal, they used the power play well, bringing up 50 inside the first 4 overs. Jaiswal took just 22 balls to hit his half century. While Jaiswal continued with the aggressive hitting, Gaikwad didn't last long, perishing for 25, trying to clear the boundary. Nepal bowlers struck back with quick wickets of Tilak Verma and Sandeep Lamichhane. Jaiswal, though, held the other end, scoring 100 of just 49 balls, which included 7 sixes. Late fireworks from Rinku Singh and Shivam Dubey helped India reach 202 for 4. In reply, Nepal got a scare. They got off to a decent start with Kushal Bhurtal slamming a couple of boundaries early on. But they lost their openers, and from there on, they were tottering at 77 for 4. But then came Dipendra Ari and Sandeep Jora and Karan Casey. They started striking some lusty blows to raise the possibility of a huge upset. In the end, though, the task was too big. Indian bowlers used their experience to avoid a shocker. Ravi Bishnoi's 3 for 24 in the middle overs, key for this Indian team in beating Nepal. But what a game it was. Now India are in the semi-finals, and what a year this has been for Yashaswi Jaiswal. There are fairy tales, and then there is a fairy tale debut and a fairy tale debut year for Yashasvi Jaiswal that the world will be talking of in years to come with them. The fact that everything right now that he's doing is just incredible, you know, starting from that fastest half century in the IPL to 171 against West Indies on debut to now doing this. And there is a difference in how these players will look at Asian Games. I mean, a multi-team event, it is a different moment for them. It's a different occasion. I know we've all seen them watch hockey matches there. I think I saw VVS Lakshman at the badminton team event. He was sitting with Washington Sundar. So this is a big moment for all these youngsters, right, who are participating in this in the cricket event. But Yashasvi Jaiswal specifically, how great has this year been for him? It can't get better, can it?
Yeah, I've been saying this for quite some time that Yashasvi Jaiswal is ready. He needs to be taken into the Indian team. There are a lot of things going in his favor. His temperament is right. He's got the hunger. He's a left-hander. He's batting brilliantly. And he showed us in West Indies itself that he was a very, very capable opening batsman. So I think India have a very, very ready-made opening batsman in Jaiswal. It's just a question of time before he forces his way into the side. If you ask me, he's good enough to get into the side right now, you know. And I think they need to invest in good youngsters. And, Asian Games, you're expected to win. So the pressure on you is definitely going to be that much more. And whether it's Nepal or Pakistan or whomever you're going to play, it doesn't matter because the pressure is on you. You are the favorite. You are supposed to win. And you are supposed to deliver, whether batting or bowling, you are supposed to deliver. So that kind of pressure and temperament, I think Jaiswal has shown again and again that he has it in him. And I have no doubt at all in my mind that he is India ready and he should be pushed as soon as possible.
There's also the other thing that when you see him score at this rate, Chetan, it's not really mindless slogging that one thinks. There's skill there, and that skill is in abundance when it comes to Yashasvi Jaiswal at that young an age. What he became, I think, the youngest to hit a T20I century with this 100. But like I said, it's not mindless hitting. There is thought, there is tremendous amount of skill. And that's why you look at him and you say, yeah, like Vedam saying, he is ready for, taking on the best opposition.
Absolutely, Meha. Now what? He has 100 at test level and a T20 level. So what? At that particular age, he's already got two formats down and done and stitched. So he's just waiting for an ODI debut. Probably will get 100 there as well. Look, I think Yashasvi Jaiswal is your classic IPL product. When I look at him and his time spent with somebody like Josh Butler, the way he bats, like you said, there's a method to madness. And this is a phrase that I attach with how Josh Butler bats. Josh Butler is probably the most ferocious white ball opener in world cricket today, or T20 opener in world cricket today. No disrespect to Rohit Sharma. But at the same time, you see the way Josh Butler bats. He can explode at any time, at any time. And what stands out for Josh Butler is that sometimes when England are in trouble and he just controls himself and then accelerates whenever he wants to. When Yashasvi Jaiswal plays those attacking shots, I see Josh Butler in there. The way Josh Butler bats, the way Josh Butler thinks. And to my mind, the time spent with Josh Butler, and you can see this. A year ago, Yashasvi Jaiswal was playing really freely, really free-handed, and he was attacking a little bit more. But this year, he's taken a little more from the way Joss Butler bats. Take your time, just get settled and attack when you want to. And I think that is reflecting more and more in his batting, and that is why we are seeing the fruits of it. I'm not saying that okay, it's all down to Joss Butler. It's obviously Yashaswi Jaiswal who has the temperament and who has the ability, but you can just see the influence coming from playing with or batting with somebody like Joss Butler. So and I've said on this show before, this is an all format batsman for India for the next 10 to 12 to 15 years, depending on fitness, depending on how he handles. He's going to be a huge celebrity. He's going to be a huge star, probably on the level of Shubman Gill. He's just a little, maybe a couple of stations behind Shubman Gill. He's on the same train tracks. He's going to be a huge star. Indian cricket is blessed to have both Shubman Gill and Yashasvi Jaiswal, two all formats batsmen for the next 10 years. I think our top order is looking pretty good.
Okay, but the team itself, at one point Nepal were looking good, and you felt like maybe they'll just pull off a minor miracle because of the way Indian bowlers were bowling as well, right? How surprised were you by that, Vedam, that well, India scored 202 and Nepal got to, I think, 179. And when Ari and George, they were hitting, you felt like this could go either way. Arshdeep disappointing in the way he bowled along with Avesh Khan as well?
Yeah, I guess so. See, when I mentioned this earlier, the pressure is on you. The batsman will come and throw his bat around. You are expected to win. You are expected to perform. It doesn't matter whether it's Nepal or whoever. So the pressure is always on you. And how you rise to the pressure, that's what counts. And somebody like Jaiswal with the bat has shown that he can rise to the pressure and stand up and be counted. So the bowlers also have, they are under pressure all the time. You may say 10 runs and over, but 10 runs and over still has to be got there. And Nepal have nothing to lose. I mean, if they lose to India, it's expected. But if they can beat India, I mean, that's one of the biggest upsets. So they will also go hammer and tong, hell for leather. And it's see, what happens in these kind of situations is it's very easy for a fielding team to panic. Despite having such a big total, it's very easy to panic. But if you wait for your time, if you pick up your chances, and then keep a cool head at the right time, you will see that through. And I would like to believe that the Indian team has a lot more experience, handling these kind of situations. IPL may be one excuse, but even otherwise, most of them play a lot of domestic cricket where they get into these kind of situations. So I think they'll have to win this again and again and again. And each time they win, they're just proving themselves all over again. So I think, yeah, it's a good test of temperament. I would not so much bother about skill at this level, because at the highest level, it's more temperament rather than skill that counts. Skill, yes, it is required. It's required up to a point. But, the way you handle the tight situations, the way you have the temperament, and, the way you try to come out a winner all the time, that counts at the highest level. And I think it's a good thing that India, is running the gauntlet and is being forced to prove itself again and again, both the batting and bowling. And I think that will stand them in very good stead in the days to come.
Okay, coming back to the warm-up game between India and Netherlands, the covers are still on. There are a couple of damp patches just outside the ring, and it might take about 35 minutes more before overs start being reduced, which I think is expected now, given that we haven't even had the toss. But there is also the other warm-up game between Pakistan and Australia. Babar Azam decided to take some rest. So Shadab Khan, he's captaining. I think Mohammad Rizwan's also resting from that game. Chetan, Pakistan, beyond a point, do not care about these warm-up games. Babar Azam said he's resting, Rizwan is resting, even if it's a team like Australia. And I wonder how they'd be approaching this warm-up game. Will there be any last minute things that they want to try out, or would this just be game time? Let's just go get some game time.
the first sentence you said, Pakistan don't care about the warm-ups. They stopped caring about the warm-up while they were playing the warm-up against New Zealand. I mean, New Zealand last 8 overs, they just accelerated. They just accelerated out of nowhere. I mean, they were 250 at one point, and they were 350 in what, 5 overs, 6 overs. It was amazing. Look, I think Pakistan. I think like any other side, I think Pakistan are just looking at these warm-ups to fine-tune themselves. I think both Rizwan and Babar have had a lot of batting in recent times, and I think they're in superb form, both of them. Rizwan got that 100 in that warm-up, so I don't think he needs to really bat bad. Babar, obviously, we know what he can do in these conditions. I think fine-tuning is a good way to describe what they would want to do today. I think the onus right now is on how Pakistan's bowling performs. Shadab is leading. I think their spin is an issue. Their spin department is an issue. The pace department is also an issue with, who's supporting Shaheen. Harris Roth needs to step up. I mean, obviously, Naseem Shah is a huge, huge miss. So I think it's just a matter of fine-tuning their bowling, getting that balance right, see what options they have. They're playing games in conditions where the ball is going to turn a little more than, say, across northern India or across, say, Mumbai, Bangalore, etc.
Yeah.
So I think those are things that they really need to understand. I think, there was this conversation where PCB objected to playing against Afghanistan in Chennai, and now I know why, because those PCB officials knew their spin department is a bit lightweight. So, I mean, jokes apart, Pakistan need to fine-tune their bowling. I think they have more to derive from this warm-up than Australia does. More than Pakistan, I don't think Australia cares about this warm-up enough.
Okay, now what happened in the two warm-up games last night? One is that Chetan, who said yesterday that New Zealand are looking good, well, they proved that yet again. But the other one, where Vedam said that England, temperament is a problem with England, and that could have, had that score been slightly bigger, that could have come back to hurt them. But England beat Bangladesh by 4 wickets in the warm-up game in Guwahati, which became 37 overs a side affair after rain played spoil sport on the day. Bangladesh scored 188 for 9, batting first. Mehdi Hassan was their top scorer, 74 of 89 balls. Then Tanzid Hassan, he was the other contributor with 45 runs. England used as many as 9 bowlers, with left-armer Reece Topley taking 3 wickets. In reply, England's revised target was 197, which they knocked off in 24.1 overs. This is the luxury of having having a team where everybody can bat. Moeen Ali hit 6 sixes in his 56 of 39 balls, while Jos Buttler hit a quick fire 15 ball 30. Easy win for England, but they were losing wickets and they didn't care, Vedam. And I don't know, as an Indian, I was a bit worried when they kept losing wickets, but they still kept going hard. You felt like if this was, say, 200 something, the target, would that be more difficult for England? Or would that actually come back? This whole constantly going hard, which you spoke about yesterday, can that come back to hurt them? Clearly, as of now, against a team like Bangladesh, it didn't.
Yeah, but see, look, what happens is if you have to chase, let's say, for instance, 300, 350, then there's only one way to go about it. You just have to go bang, 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 right from first ball. Supposing you have to chase something like 180, 190, maybe 200, then you're caught in two minds, whether to go for it or, take your own time, protect your wickets. So that is where I think those middle targets, I won't say low targets, the middle targets are the challenge, not just for England. Every side in the team, every side in the competition will face this at some time or the other, the middle targets where it's 200, 210, 220, where you're expected to win, but you don't know whether you go hammer and tongs at it or, you try and preserve your wicket and see somebody get some big runs. So I think England is also caught in that kind of a trap right now. But you can't read anything into these practice matches, some of the people can't even motivate themselves, to come and play the practice match or even perform at the practice match. Yes, they're making themselves available and they are playing, but whether they can motivate themselves, see, some of them really need that pressure. They need that pressure. They need to be under the pump, under the cosh to, work themselves up, to get their adrenaline pumping, to get those competitive juices going. And there are some players, whether batsmen or bowlers, who need that kind of a thing. If that is not there, and as I see it, these practice matches are actually a waste of time. Just because you have to give everybody a chance, you're giving them a chance. I'm saying everybody is not just the
Yeah.
players, also the second level umpires, your TV crew, and of course the associations. 30 associations in India, 30 grounds. What do? You got to give them some matches. You can't keep giving everybody just those 4 or 5 matches. And this rotation policy, which the grounds and associations followed, I think has been thrown out of the window a long time back. COVID was a good excuse for that. But even after COVID, that kind of rotation, they haven't come back to that kind of rotation. And this will always be the challenge as more and more stadiums crop up across the country. There'll be more demands depending on who's got a lot of political clout, and how do you appease them? Because you need their vote. Whether you like it or not, you need their vote every year. So you need to appease them in some form or the other. Maybe you'll give them practice matches. Maybe you'll give them India A matches. Or maybe you'll give them matches against Bangladesh and Zimbabwe. But it is a fact that there is a challenge for the BCCI, and right now they don't know how to handle it. In the meantime, you have these practice matches which nobody's interested in.
But there's one thing that's very clear, which is England's approach, right? Even in these practice match, I mean, you just know that there's just one way they're going to play, and which is, because we have that kind of depth, we are going to be aggressive, even if we keep losing wickets. Chetan?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is how England play. There's no doubt about it. They just go hammer and tongs, and it's a high risk, high return approach that won them the World Cup in 2019. They almost didn't qualify for the semi-finals, but they managed to pull it back, and they did. They haven't changed, and they've just tried to build on that, and they've tried to keep on building on that. And I think we shouldn't read too much into last night's warm-up, because first of all, let's be honest. It's their bowling that restricted Bangladesh to that particular score, and it was added on because of DLS. It was supposed to be 170 something, it became 190 something. That was because of DLS. So their bowling did the job of restricting England to 188. It's their batting, yes. Let's not forget that they are playing in India after a while. I think it's been 2 years since they played ODI cricket in India. And they just landed here. They've been playing ODI cricket in different conditions. This is the first, basically, running around for them in Indian conditions in a while, in this particular format at least. So they're just getting their bearings right. And also, they didn't really play their, first choice batting lineup. I mean, as long as Ben Stokes is not featuring in it, it's not their first choice batting lineup, because the way he bats, he is the most phenomenal batsman in world cricket at the moment. The way he plays those clutch innings, whenever England is in danger, he, shifts his gears down, bats and bats and bats, and then just explodes at the right moment. He is the best clutch batsman in the world at this point. Finishing the innings is a different thing altogether. But being a clutch batsman where you have to shift gears throughout the innings, depending on the situation, that's completely different. And nobody does it better than Ben Stokes. So it wasn't their first choice lineup. It was just a warm up. Their bowling did the job. First attempt in about 2 years in India in this format. Yeah. I'm not going to read too much into yesterday's batting performance.
Okay, but I am going to ask Vedam about whether he's changed his mind after what he saw New Zealand do against South Africa in the warm-up game last night, because you said that you don't see New Zealand qualifying for the semi-finals, but this is what happened in that game. Now again, we're not reading too much into it, but still need to give you the results. In the other game at Thiruvananthapuram, New Zealand, they put up a big total of 321 for 6 in their 50 overs, with Devon Conway scoring 78 of 73 balls, and Tom Latham, he hit 52 of 56 deliveries. Lungi Ngidi and Marco Jansen both got 3 wickets apiece. Due to bad weather, South Africa needed 219 in 37 overs as per DLS score, and they fought well, but ended up scoring 211 for 4 in their stipulated overs. Quinton de Kock, set to retire after the World Cup, looked good. He scored 84 of 89 deliveries. And then there was Rassie van der Dussen, who was the other half-century maker. But what we saw was a completely dominant New Zealand side, and clearly not really impacted by the conditions in the way we think they would be, Vedam. So you've got to give it to them that the two practice games that they've played so far, they've really looked like a team that's on a mission.
Yeah, but we'll have to wait for the tournament to start.
Sure.
That's when we'll really challenge. See, I've been saying this right from the beginning. New Zealand is a very good side under certain conditions. In English conditions, in New Zealand, in Kiwi conditions, they are an outstanding side with their batting, bowling, and let's not forget their fielding. Their fielding is also outstanding. Now, even in the IPL, it's more their bowlers who have come to the party rather than their batsmen. Maybe the odd batsman here and there, but otherwise, it's more or less been the bowlers who've done well for them. But again, that's just bowling 4 overs. Now, for them to bowl in India, bat in India, field in India over 7, 8, 9 matches, I don't know whether they have it in them. They are a good side. I'm not saying that, I'm not running them down at all. They are a good side. And on their day, they can beat anybody. But I don't, for one, believe that they have that magic or the spark in them to continuously win. They cannot continuously win. I don't think they have it, especially in these conditions. Like I said, once it gets a little steamy hot, the ball starts turning, and there's a lot of, if there's a wet ball, they will struggle, and they will struggle big time because they're just not used to these conditions. And maybe a Kane Williamson might do well, but I don't think rest of the other batsmen will be able to handle 8, 9 matches together. I don't think they have it in them.
Okay, let's unleash Chetan on you then.
With all due respect, I completely disagree there with Vedam. I think they are a top 4 team. Nobody, Gary Steed and Kane Williamson is probably the most intelligent combination in world cricket at the moment. The results speak for themselves across conditions. They've done well. I mean, 2016, they were in the semi-finals. Yes, they were beaten by England. But they've been consistently making semi-finals. Once you make the semi-finals, it's what happens on that particular day. And look, they beat India in 2019 ODI World Cup in those conditions. And let me just say it out very loudly. India read the conditions wrong in 2019. India should have batted first in Manchester. It was not a pitch where you bring the opposition into bat because even 240 was defendable on that pitch. It was a slow wicket. It was turning. And obviously there was rain around. So India made the wrong decision. India read the conditions wrong, not Kane Williamson. Virat Kohli read the conditions wrong. So, like I said, New Zealand, obviously, we can't really predict what happens in the tournament. But my personal opinion is that the way they've been batting, the way they've been playing, New Zealand, maybe they're not ahead of England, Australia, India at the moment. Player to player, obviously, they're probably not ahead because New Zealand players are probably not celebrated as much. They're not talked about as much. But look at the way they've played ODI cricket in the last 1.5 years. There's a certain template there. And we spoke about templates in 2019, the way England plays. So I think they still have it in them to get to the semi-final. Then in the semi-final, it'll be, what happens on that particular day. I mean, they could beat any of the sides they play. But I certainly think that they are in my top 4 for the semi-final.
We haven't spoken about South Africa, and I know that every time when it's a World Cup, nobody really gives them a chance. But just on paper with them, how do you look at the South African side, and do you see them keeping the history aside and the tag, that's attached to them forever? But is this a good enough side to make it to the semi-finals? Just on paper.
A guy like Alan Donald, he couldn't run one run. That was a run for you to win. He just became leonard-footed. That is why they called a bunch of jokers. There was another one. I think it was the Hero Cup where Sachin Tendulkar was bowling last over 50th. I think they needed some 4 or 5 runs to win, and they couldn't get a run. They just get into a brain freeze. And don't forget that catch that Gibbs dropped. I mean, they've been doing this again and again and again. They are a bunch of chokers. Not jokers, chokers. They choke. And they choke. I mean, it's incredible. There is something wrong with their temperament if they are going to choke again and again and again. That's one part of it. The second part of it is this quota system. There is no way you can build teamwork on quota system. There's always some sort of resistance, some anger, some angst. When you have this quota system,
Yeah.
whether you like it or not, and in tight situations, that comes out. It comes out from your subconscious mind, but it comes out. And especially if the guy at the other end is somebody who's come in with some sort of a quota, you wonder, how the hell am I stuck with this chap at this crucial juncture? You don't trust him fully, whether it's batting, fielding, bowling, and that is a problem. So, can you build a team spirit with quota system? I don't think so. You just
Okay.
can't do that. And it's going to get worse and worse if they're going to stick to this quota system.
Okay.
As it is, they are chokers, and then you stick to quota system. I don't think.
It's a
I
recipe
mean,
for
individually
disaster.
there are guys who can win for them, but
Okay,
collectively, no.
completely out of time, gentlemen. Thank you so much, Chetan Narula and Vedam Jaishankar, for joining us here. That's it then on this special. Just before we go, Asian Games points table. Let's put that up as we wrap this up, because India have again done well today. They've got 13 gold medals, 24 silver and 25 bronze. So the tally has gone up to 62. China at the top with 275 medals in total. Japan in number 2 with 124 medals in total, 33 gold. Korea have got, Republic of Korea have got 31 gold medals, and they are in the 3rd position, with India in the 4th position. And a lot to look forward to as well. There is Tejaswin Shankar's decathlon. He might get a medal today. There's Vidya Ramraj in women's 400 meters hurdles. She might win that. So a lot to look forward to. That's it though from us. News9 Live is what you need to subscribe to for all the latest from the world of sports. For now, goodbye. Thanks for watching.